Slight movement out 3 metres from the 600 to the 300 in the true for the remainder, and that was just to cover a piece of the track that had been rain affected. Means we've just got slightly smaller field sizes there this afternoon at Tatura. Race number 1, the favourite is the 2 Highland Raider. Out and trip should certainly suit the son of Highland Rail. He's built a really good fitness base leading into this, and it looks a winnable race.
Yeah, a win looks close for him. He was really strong to the line first up at Kyneton over 1,400 metres. The last two have been at 1,600 metres. Hopefully can use that inside draw. You don't want to be too far off them at Tatura, but he's definitely looking for this distance, and although he hasn't seen worse than a 6, he got through that quite well. Nathan
Newton puts the saddle on the 4 Outbreak. He'd be looking for some improvement from the 3-year-old gelding by Cluster.
Definitely been around at Travis Head odds the last couple, $151, and well beaten in both of them. The last of those was at 1,400 metres. Jumps sharply in trip, probably needs the run.
Talking about Royal Ascot, Kieran Murray and Dave Eustace is going to be represented there on Tuesday by Coolangatta. They've got Shearman, Dyer here, a gelding, that comes into this with a good base of fitness.
Yeah, pretty sure I saw a few vests with Shearman Dyer on the back as well, getting around the airport recently. So big raps on this horse at the stable. Has to jump in trip from 1,500 metres last start. Did handle a heavy 10 track over the Warrnambool Carnival in what was a weaker maiden there. Might be looking for this distance, being by Teofilo.
Your thoughts on the 6 Evie Gold?
Led them up last start at Seymour and is a horse that has some early speed. On trial at the trip, but it's never a negative to be too far off them at Tatura.
Another getting out and trip is the 7 Grand Terrain.
Didn't finish off a couple back at Kilmore on a wet track, but did improve last start at Seymour from last on a day where pretty much all the time at Seymour it is advantageous to be back and running on. Drawn barrier 1 would want to use that.
Another hoping to improve out and trip is the 8 Sally in the Sun.
Was ordinary last start, getting to 1,600 metres. Got a beautiful run there at Wagga, but was well beaten. Bit of a query at the distance.
The 9, She's a Snake.
Even a couple back and well beaten last start.
10 Smashing Ruby.
Yeah, made ground last start on the Pakenham Synthetic. Might be looking for this distance, has some upside.
I'm going to go back to the 1 in Cape Boy. He hasn't featured in 11 race day outings.
He's fit. However, he's been mixing his form and going around at big prices.
And the last is the 3 Naval Aviator. First up, blinkers go on.
Now, this horse has some good form on the page, has a bit of upside, gets the 4 kilo claim. First up is the Query, but the debut run beaten 6 lengths by Ferrari Man, an on-speed dominated race, stacks up well for this.
Brendan's got the favourite on top, Highland Raider. Runners are loaded away. Let's join him for his call. Race number 1 at Tatura.
And just the last couple to move in. There is one riderless there. And that is Outbreak, one of the roughies. So we're getting close. Race number 1 on the program on this heavy 10 surface. And the field is right now. Light is on. Just awaiting on Aaron Lynch to gather up his gear in the outside gate. And they'll be ready to go. Racing. Shearman, Dyer away okay towards the outside. Beginning well was Highland Raider nearer the inside. Going forward is Naval Aviator through in the centre, Evie Gold. So they're just sorting themselves out as they work down the straight on the first occasion. A line across the track. Naval Aviator nearest the inside with Evie Gold the centre, and She's a Snake 3 out, 4 out Shearman Dyer as they greet the judge. Followed by the pink jacket of Smashing Ruby and then Highland Raider. Through on the inside is Grand Terrain. Is going to follow up behind the speed in that leading cluster. 3 or 4 to Outbreak. Next in the field was Sally in the Sun, and at the tail is Cape Boy. Onto the side of the track they run now, and the leader is Naval Aviator, led out by a length and a quarter. Now going on 2 lengths. In second, Evie Gold. She's a Snake covers ground around the outside of the favourite Highland Raider. 5th on the inside at the 1,200 Grand Terrain, followed in turn by Smashing Ruby. A length and a half further back to Shearman Dyer. A break of 3 lengths to Outbreak. A similar break away to Sally in the Sun, who's struggling this far from home, as is Cape Boy. Along the back, Naval Aviator calling the shots, extended the lead out by 5 now. Put under a ride in second, Evie Gold. She's a Snake in third, out deep Smashing Ruby. Coffee off and going now. Around the outside on Shearman Dyer. Trying to save ground was Highland Raider. Under pressure, Grand Terrain, then Outbreak. 4 or 5 further back to Cape Boy and Sally in the Sun. Along the side they run, nearing the 600 metres, and Naval Aviator coming back back to the field. Shearman Dyer's running on around the outside. Under a right, Highland Raider continues to improve. Then Evie Gold out deeper on the track. Outbreak, one of the roughies, is making some ground ahead of She's a Snake. Then Grand Terrain. 400 metres left to go. Shearman Dyer went up on the outside but is flat out. As he's on the inside, Naval Aviator. Then Highland Raider running on his Outbreak. 2 or 3 further back in the field to Evie Gold as they corner in at the 250. Some tired ponies here. First for home is Shearman Dyer. Naval Aviator tries to battle back. 3 or 4 further back to Highland Raider. And Outbreak continues to chip away, but inside the 100, Shearman Dyer took the lead. Got the upper hand from Naval Aviator, and Shearman Dyer won a real slog in the first. Naval Aviator second, Outbreak third, fourth in Highland Raider. Next across was Kate Boy, who got going. He was under pressure a long way from home, beats half the field in. Then Evie Gold, She's a Snake, in company with him Grand Terrain. Well back smashing Ruby, and the last one across the line was Sally in the Sun. Well, a real slog there, but Shearman Dyer has gone on to break through for Mar Eustace and Harry Coffey. Shearman Dyer will score in a race where there were a few horses struggling a long way from home, but in the end, Shearman Dyer has been able to go on and break through here at start number 7, and very heavy conditions out there. Safe, but very heavy. There were some tired horses.
Well placed this afternoon. It was the 5. Shearman Dyer did open up favourite. Was on the drift, but Harry Coffey gets the job done for the state's leading trainers, Kieran Maher and Dave Eustace. They pick up the first at Tatura. Shearman Dyer picks up his maiden victory. We're going to have a look at a market now for race number 1 at Geelong.